Hello, and welcome back to Quantum Break. Yeah, we just saw a shifter, and we're kind of lucky to be alive. Because the setter broke just before it was about to kill us. So, yay. Now we're just looking for stuffs and things. Communication should be easier now.
Another door I need help with, Fiona.
You're at Serene's office. Good. Just a second. This one's a little tricky. Serene's got access to the CFR chamber, and there's going to be a pretty dangerous guy there guarding. Got it. Just be careful, okay?
Yeah, careful. I'm known for being
Paul's
careful.
already gone, but he left behind the one thing I needed.
Yeah, I may want to kill Paul, but there are more important things first. Untitled Note. Is that the title of it? Or I've left this message here for you to find, so that soon, when the time comes and I ask you to choose, you can do so with your eyes open and with some hint of understanding. I have no secrets, and the only thing I choose to admit are the ones that you in your current limited state would not be able to grasp, no matter how hard I tried to make you understand. I have walked down the same path you are on now. Once, from your perspective, a long time ago, although time no longer has such meaning to me, I too came into contact with a time machine. In my case, it was not a man-made device, but a natural one in a cave. What? Is this Hatch? It should come as no surprise, really, that such things exist. Much like natural nuclear reactors do exist, such as the now defunct ones at Oklo, Africa. What? After all, the Mayor Joyce Field has its irregularities. I too became Chronon active. I too developed Chronon syndrome. And in time, I too lost control and became a shifter. That's what I thought. Because at once everything and nothing was everywhere and nowhere, died countless deaths and was still alive. My every probability, every possibility happening at once. I promised I would not lie, and thus I tell you. The noise and the pain and the rage were more than anyone could suffer and not go insane. I burned in this fire for a long time. There were brief moments of awareness in the endless nightmare, different versions of certain key moments in my life that I found myself reliving again and again, trying to make things right, like a puzzle, on and on and on. I'm convinced that the stutters and the end of time saved me, for those were the only places, the only times where I could even briefly stop and rest and slowly find focus and control again, and ultimately master this state. Not emerge from it, not be cured, not go back to what I was before, for there is no such thing, but to learn to be in one place and everywhere at once. My perception is altered, like that of someone who has seen a perceptual illusion and discovered that the picture is both a young girl and an old woman at the same time. Once you see them both, you can never not see them. We are such limited beings. We play with just one piece, on just one square on an endless chessboard, just one life, one timeline, and an infinite multiverse of possibilities. I am an exception, the only one who found his way to the other side. Or is this just a shifter's brief dream before a stutter collapses? There are other shifters. You, your best friend, who is now your mortal enemy, Dr. Kim, others, some of whom you know. It doesn't matter who, because they are gone. And when they emerge, if they ever emerge, they will not be who they were, just as I am not who I was before. I have done my part in helping you all achieve this state. If time is an ocean with a frozen surface, then the stutters and the end of time are holes in that ice, opportunities to come up for air. I have a plan. It's already in motion, but it would be futile to try to explain it to you, like trying to explain 3 dimensions to someone who can only see 1. But make no mistake, I do not look down on you. I strive for humility, even as I shift this world from one state to another. I will make this possible. I stand in between. I don't see myself as a gate. I remain humble. I am something smaller. A hatch. Well, I knew he was something. He's definitely something.
Prep the chopper.
He's not human anymore.
What's the profile?
Full tactical complement. And we're going to need a tech squad for assembly. I'll brief them on the way.
Copy that. Good hunting, sir.
So what are you doing? Something with a time machine, perhaps? Oh, I guess I'm going to look at it. I was trying to avoid it. That's a laptop.
My office alarm went off. Is that you skulking around, Jack?
No,
Fuck
it's
you.
somebody else.
I'm done playing games. I'm here for what you stole.
Yes, of course.
The CFR. If you understood just how much depended on that, you'd leave it alone. But I know you don't care.
You're right. I don't. And it looks like you're not here to stop me.
Yes. Yes, everything will play out as it has to play out. I'll see you very soon, Jack.
Well. They're going to disassemble that one. To get its core out, perhaps?
Done dancing your tune, you crazy bastard.
Hey, there's a way down over there. Guess we look at this again. That's kind of weird. Clarice, as you know, I have a mission to embark on, so I'll try to be brief. I have initiated the lifeboat protocol over Martin's objections. Given how things have developed since then, I'm glad I did. I don't fully understand Martin's motives, but it's obvious he's moving against me and against the entire survival plan itself. I know you have worked closely with him, and I know that this must come as a shock. It's also alarming that in evading capture, Martin took out an entire security team. For an unarmed man who's ostensibly not combat trained, that should be impossible. Obviously, this is highly alarming news. I don't know if he had help or if there's even more to Martin than we have come to suspect, but he's had a free reign over this company for a long time, and he's extremely resourceful and persuasive. It's not clear to me who I can trust at this point, but I know I can depend on you. I trust that you will see things through in my absence and ensure the stutter-proofing stays up. In particular, I would appreciate it if you would ensure that Dr. Amaral stays safe in the lifeboat. She has been through a lot during the past 24 hours, and she still managed to make her way back to us and bring vital intel. Thank you for your loyal services, Clarice. It has always been appreciated, Paul. Well. Everything is falling apart and into place.
The countermeasure was Paul's prize. Everything he built was based on Will's device. His plan depended on it. You better believe I look forward to taking it from him.
A little bit of revenge and being the hero.
Only one of Serene's treatments survived the explosion. His time was running out.
So was everybody else's.
I guess if he didn't take that, he might have turned into a shifter. Here's an actual email chain. To Paul Serene from Sophie. Paul, we now have finalized the plans for acquiring and transporting the time machine core from the university lab. Your instructions are quite clear. We won't actually move in until your younger self has entered the machine, and the men will try to take the Joyces alive, with the understanding that Jack Joyce in particular could be a threat, and neither can be allowed to escape under any circumstances. I'm still quite uncomfortable with all this, Paul. I understand your reasoning and I know the stakes are high, but I don't want to see anybody hurt. It's antithetical to my role as a scientist. I wish you'd reconsider. Surely there's a better way to resolve this. Moral implications aside, the loss of Dr. Joyce's expertise alone would be a great blow. If everything goes smoothly and quietly, we will transport the core directly to the Monarch's tower via ground route. If there's a commotion and it seems there is any risk of detection, we will instead airlift the core to our dry docks operation and then move it discreetly from there to HQ. The construction of the new time machine frame at the top of the Monarch Tower has been finished since last year. Once we have received the core, it will be installed into the time machine per your orders. I know you don't intend to use it, but even with the limitations the nature of time travel imposes on us, I have to say it seems like a great waste to not take advantage of such a resource, both from a strategic and a scientific point of view. Dr. Sophia Amro, Head of Research. And then I kidnapped her. Wow, Jesus Christ. From Paul, Sophie. I understand why you would feel that way, but this isn't something I take lightly. It's my experience that time travel only complicates things, and while my own trip through time has given us great opportunities, it has also set me on this path. I want to control it, not use it. That said, I want to have the machine ready to use for emergencies. My foreknowledge of future events will end very soon, and it might prove to be useful to have that option of obtaining more detailed information from the future. Obviously, given that the furthest you could go back is the machine's activation at the university, visiting the past seems fairly useless. Also, ensure that the machine is heavily guarded at all times. Nobody is allowed to operate the machine besides myself, and I want the corridor to remain undeployed unless I give specific orders to the contrary. As for the Joyce brothers, I intend to give William the option of joining us if possible, but I know him. He's a very stubborn and unstable man, and I don't know if we could ever trust him. I don't need to remind you that he built in that ridiculous little workshop with very limited resources a device that broke the local physics at Ground Zero and caused my Chronon syndrome. I don't intend to give him a chance to show us what else he could do if he decides that we're a target. That along with the visions I have seen, there are certain sentimental reasons that make me wish I could let William live, but I doubt that he makes it possible for us. As for Jack, I'm not too worried about him. It took me a long time to master my abilities, so Jack shouldn't be a major problem unless he manages to use stutters to escape the area. Luckily, stutters should be very rare in these early stages of the fracture. Still, I've come too far to take any chances. I'd prefer to take him alive, but nothing can be allowed to put our plan to risk. I'm sorry to have to involve you in something like this. I know it's not what you signed up for, and as I said, I don't expect you to be personally involved with that part of the operation in any way. I'm not particularly happy about this part myself, and I wish I had better options, but our circumstances are as they are, and I have come too far to falter now. I hope you understand. And then eventually she wrote back, whoa, Jesus Christ, that's a lot. Paul, yes, of course. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to add to your burden, and I know that these are hard decisions. You can count on us to proceed as planned. I know you're exceptionally busy now that the time is almost upon us, but I was hoping you would have time for dinner. Yeah, they're getting romantically involved. Sophia, please update me on our progress with the time machine core relocation. Where are we with this? Paul, don't worry about it. We're on schedule. Your time machine core from the university has been transported to the HQ, and it's currently being installed into the new machine frame we've built for it. You'll have direct access to it from the CFR chamber. As requested. And no, before you ask, you can't actually access the CFR chamber from the time machine. That elevator can only be activated from within the chamber, so no one working on the machine can get to the CFR. I thought you'd appreciate the layer of added security. I know how important it is to keep the CFR safe. Anyway, I know you don't actually intend to use the time machine, but should you ever need it, all we need to do is deploy the corridor. It's actually all hooked up now, but we're still running some final diagnostics. The tech should be ready with it before the gala's over. So we will have access to a time machine. Excellent. I'm sure we'll have to use it, because we need to use the CFR at the beginning of the first fracture in time.
17 years,
Yeah.
he lived through twice. All of it mapped out, from memory.
He knew the market trends before they occurred.
Yep.
He had the tools to make a fortune, and he did.
And then 2021, the end of time. They did fix it, because here I am. That proves that, right? That's just how that works?
Paul saw what was coming. It broke him. He refused to believe that it could be changed, and he cast aside the only people who could have convinced him otherwise.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're kind of doing the same thing. He's trying to save the world. He just has a different idea from us. His methods, questionable at the very least. Paul, Martin, I know you've both been arguing that the quantum ripple causality research subdivision has great potential and we should keep it funded. I must once again implore you to reconsider. Yes, see, this is the thing. We've seen ripples that change time, and we've caused them. So we know time can be changed, at least on a small level. I'll be the first one to admit that the technology is impressive. The fact that Dr. Morphin and Rangers... Seriously? Can actually track the consequences rippling out from minor shifts within the Mayer-Joyce field is incredible. And the level of informational detail they managed to obtain is amazing. But here's the thing. They've been at this for 2 years now, and they have not produced a single useful result. Yes, we can trace actual events from their small inception point to the actual consequences, very much in keeping with the basic chaos theory concept of the butterfly flapping its wings, but, well, so what? Every single thing that happens in this universe is the result of such a chain of events. Being able to see the chain offers no real insight to anything due to the very randomness of the processes. Furthermore, it's utterly misleading. You could say that some tiny event or tiny decision in my life yesterday led me to writing this email, and that's technically true, but so did some tiny event or tiny decision in my life 15 years ago. It's all a chain. The events yesterday didn't take place in a vacuum. It didn't come out of nowhere. So what's the point? We have no control over it. We don't get to direct it, and we get no useful information out of it. Also, have you actually seen the reports they generate? From a technological point of view, the way they managed to automate their analysis of the fluctuation signatures within the Mayer-Joyce field is impressive, but again, it's also meaningless babble with no particular applications. Their personal remarks on the reports are even worse, with all due respect to Roy and Terry and their indisputable technical expertise. I don't know what they're doing, and I'm not sure they do either. It's like they're coming up with stuff at random. The above outlines my concerns as to the futility of the entire process, and I suspect they may not be enough to sway you, but I have one final point, which I think you should consider very, very carefully. The entire program is an unforgivable waste of Monarch resources. I don't mean money, although the entire quantum ripple causality research subdivision is costing us millions and millions of dollars, but that doesn't really matter, because I know we can afford that. However, there are more vital resources they are consuming. Each time they fire up their rig and delve into the Mayer-Joyce field, they eat up huge amounts of chronon particles. Those are a finite resource, and as you know, we are projecting that the ground zero's yield will rapidly diminish as the fracture takes hold, which will happen very soon. You may not understand what the real impact of this is, so let me put it to you in practical terms. Every single time they detect and analyze a quantum ripple, it costs us a week of potential lifeboat runtime, minimum. Given Monarch's primary purpose and the total lack of useful results, I believe that that's a luxury we cannot afford. I recommend shutting them down immediately or at the latest during our next reorg. We can reallocate their resources to something useful and put Ron and Terry's expertise into great use designing the lifeboat. I'm sure we wouldn't regret putting them to work on that, given their track record of working with Chronon Tech. Sophia. See, the thing is, if you could tell what started a ripple, you could start changing things. And if they would have continued on with that, they may have been able to, I mean, Hatch wouldn't have wanted it, but if they would have continued on with that...
Paul spent a long time running Monarch in secret. Probably didn't help with that whole disconnected from reality.
They may have found a better way to fix this entire situation, but they went in a different direction. Reflections on the end. I wish my memories about the end of time were clearer, but it was anything but clear time in my life, but a clear time in my life. Wow, I butchered that. And the world was such a jumble, a frozen mess of different timelines crashing together. I was running from my life the whole time, trying to avoid the shifters. Not an ideal state of mind for gathering intel. And it didn't help that she kept chasing me, trying to kill me. Beth Wilder, one of my own people. It was her, all along. Even then, trapped in the end of time, as little as I understood about what was going on, I could tell she wasn't like me. That she didn't have the powers I did. I knew she had some kind of technology that kept her going in that suspended hell. Of course, I had no idea it was a device I would eventually have my people develop. I suppose I should appreciate the irony that it was her Chronon harness, my own Chronon harness, that it gave me the idea of the lifeboat protocol. The idea that our technology could let humanity survive the end of time. I suppose I had to thank her for that, and she paid for her sins in the end, but she left her mark on me. I know the time to pay for mine is approaching quickly, but not just yet. Back then, when Wilder and I played our game of cat and mouse at the end of time, if I'd had an ounce of control over my powers that I do now, things would have turned out very differently between the two of us. She was strong and had the training, and I was young and weak and scared. Even so, my abilities gave me an edge. I was lucky she didn't have the full striker gear. She was the one with the upper hand. I didn't learn to properly control my abilities until much later. In those days, they were unpredictable and operated on instinct. Control didn't come easy. I can't help but be aware that this doesn't seem to be the case for Jack. His mastery is growing by leaps and bounds. Is it just because that's the way he's always been? Fast on his feet, bold and adaptive, or is the fracture affecting him too? I thought we could contain him. It cost us dearly. It's not a mistake I will make again. Yeah, good luck with that, bud. Good luck with that. It could be that he's just good at adapting, like he said. Oh, I almost missed this. Or did I already get this? Is this Sophia's? Oh, yeah. I already got that. It could also be that if it's affecting him, I want to make sure that the point isn't up there. I don't think it is. I'll be on the other side of this wall. If it's even on this level. It also could be that he's more in tune with other versions of him. So if that's the case, then he has all the experience of all the versions of him all at once.
Paul was a powerful man, the leader of an empire. But behind the veil, he was a dying man. The signs were clear. Dr. Amaral was the one thing keeping Paul alive, but reading through their exchanges, there was something more than professional going on.
That's not my place to comment on.
At least on Sophia's side. I find myself at a loss. We knew the fractures would arrive. It was clear very quickly that the process was occurring much faster than Paul's projections. His experiences had led us to believe. That was alarming in itself, but there's another concern. With the fracture, Paul's condition seems to be accelerating rapidly. I don't know what to do about either one of these issues. You see, the fact that his projections are failing means that things are changing. I haven't had a chance to examine Paul properly, and of course he won't consent to any real tests at this point. He won't take the time, not with the situation being as critical as it is. He has to prepare for the gala, to take care of every little stupid thing Martin trouts out for him. He won't think of himself at all, and I'm afraid that'll cost us dearly. So, I don't know, I'm just speculating, but I believe this acceleration is a reaction to the stutters in time in zero state. His wave function is further disrupted by the excessive chronon energies within his body. Before the university incident, before the fracture, the condition was progressive but controllable. The lack of stutters helped keep it in check. Now its progress is rampant, and I worry that it may reach a critical point soon. We always knew that was a possibility, but all of our projections assumed we would have years, time enough to come up with a cure or a way to stop its progress. Which means there's a real chance that in the near future, Paul's condition overtakes him, and if he does become a shifter, I don't know what to do about it. We haven't been able to help Dr. Kim. I don't know what we could do for Paul. I don't know what to do. The treatments are still working, but they take a toll on him, and their effect is greatly diminished. I'm concerned we may hit a point where he's forced to use them so often that the treatment becomes worse than the condition itself. And yet, I don't see any other options. He will not rest. He insists on doing so much. I know he chafes under his dependence on the treatments. He sees it as a weakness. I'm afraid I may lose him. I'm afeared I may lose him. There's a possibility. He's definitely losing his flippin' mind. Where is this thing? I don't know where this is. Did I miss it somehow? I think it's the last one. Let me run back real quick. I can't. Fuck. So if I missed it, I missed it.
We have a mission. Prep the chopper.
Ready to lift off in 15 seconds.
Did I see that before? If I missed it, it doesn't really matter story-wise, because, I mean, we already knew they prepped the chopper. Okay, I may have to come back here and figure out where it is, which kind of sucks. That really sucks. What? Uh-oh. What is going on?
Just one of you. Rick. Look, you have to realize you're not gonna keep me from the CFR.
Yeah, that's,
You look like you're in shape for this. Oh boy.
hello? Fuck. Can I damage that, or do I need to use it? Well, crap. So I guess he doesn't get affected by the well, we're up here. Yeah. Anyways, hopefully you enjoyed my nonsense. If you did, a like, comment, subscribing, and hitting that bell icon would be greatly appreciated. And this has been Boylag, signing off.